Feilu Novel Network exclusive contract novel. Siheyuan. To avenge my mother, I kill beasts with my hands. I travel to Siheyuan and become a 10-year-old child. My father sacrificed himself on the battlefield, my mother was infuriated by the beasts in the courtyard, and my adopted sister also suffered from leukemia. At the beginning, Batu Ji came to grab money, but was caught by Lin Yun and prepared to hit hard. As a result, silly Zhu came to help Batu Ji and strangled Lin Yun with his hands. After Lin Yun woke up, he received a big gift package, ate the vitality fruit, and immediately went to report the incident. Yi Zhonghai still wanted to play the emotional card, thinking that Lin Yun, a little kid, could easily handle it as long as he was convinced. As a result, Lin Yun hit Yi Zhonghai hard at the beginning and angrily scolded the deaf old lady. With the help of the system, my sister Lin Xin, who was diagnosed by the doctor to have a lifespan of only 90 days, was cured. Every beast in the courtyard is the culprit who angered his mother. In order to avenge his mother, Lin Yun has no intention of letting one go. Feilu Novel Network reminds you that this novel and its characters are purely fictional. If there are any similarities, they are purely coincidental and should not be imitated. Chapter 1. Mother killed by anger, silly pillar pinches with black hands. You are listening at novel full.audio. Brother, wake up. Woo woo. Brother. Xana misses you so much. Brother, Dad's gone and Mom's gone. If you're also gone, Xana doesn't want to live anymore. An enamel cup, a mahogany table, and a narrow room with low windows and green edges. A horse-tailed girl estimated to be 7 or 8 years old, with bright red eyes, constantly choking on a boy on the wooden bed. The girl's face is as plain as a plain silk, with big beans and tears falling from the ashes. Hey, what's wrong with me? The 10-year-old boy on the bed slowly opened his eyes, and under the joyful gaze of the girl, stood up and walked to the mirror to examine his appearance. The appearance of this body is simply carved from the same mold as one's past life. And the name is also Lin Yun. Lin Yun quickly received memories from the original owner of this body. Originally, the original owner of this body was strangled to death by silly pillar. Father Lin sacrificed his life for his country on the battlefield, making a glorious sacrifice. The government issued a pension of 2,000 yuan, and the news spread back to the Lin family. Lin Yun's mother, also known as Yang Min, was already weak and sickly, and since then, she has been unable to recover from illness. And Lin Yun and his younger sister Lin Xin were still young, so a group of animals in the courtyard came up with a plan for the Lin family's 2,000 yuan pension and a house. They first resorted to various threats and temptations to bully Lin's mother, and finally, Bang Ji stole the only portrait of Lin Yun's biological father, Lin Dong. Then he continued to pee on the portrait, infuriating Lin Yun's mother Yang Min to death. After everyone in the courtyard pretended to help with Yang Min's funeral, they immediately showed their fangs to the young Lin siblings. Qin Huiru wants to occupy the Lin family's house, as well as the Lin family's 2,000 yuan pension. Silly pillar, this licking dog, goes to great lengths to please the widow. After multiple attempts of coercion and inducement failed, evil thoughts arose and they prepared to kill the Lin siblings. And once, a stick meme sneaked into the Lin family and stole their 2,000 yuan pension. Lin Yun, who happened to be rushed back, discovered that he was caught by Lin Yun and prepared to beat him up. At this very moment, silly Zhu rushed over and saw that Bang Ji was almost beaten by Lin Yun, so he grabbed Lin Yun's neck tightly with his hand. Silly pillar was originally the god of war in the courtyard, the ceiling of combat power. With the intention of killing the Lin siblings, Lin Yun, a child under 10 years old, was quickly strangled to death by the silly pillar. The reason why they didn't take action against Lin Xin was because they felt that a 7 or 8-year-old girl had no money. In this era where there is no job and one will starve to death, one cannot even use his hands and will starve to death on their own. Having fully received the memories of his original owner, Lin Yun's pale face was covered in veins. Swear to kill all the beasts in the courtyard and avenge my mother. Looking at Lin Xin, who still had tears in her eyes, Lin Yun reached out and wiped her face clean. Sister, don't cry. With my brother around, no one will dare to bully us in the future. Lin Xin nodded, her big watery eyes particularly cute. Lin Xin is actually a girl adopted by the Lin family. That is to say, this is a pair of siblings without blood ties. The Lin family's house is in the backyard. In addition to the Lin family, there are also people living in the backyard, such as Mr. Lu Haizhong, Mr. Su Damao, and the deaf old lady. This is a courtyard with 3 entrances and 3 exits, consisting of over 20 households and over 100 people. The front yard is occupied by the skilled calculation master Yan Bugue, who is an elementary school teacher with a monthly salary of 42.5 yuan. A person working has to support a large family. The people living in the courtyard are the Jia family, Silly Zhu, Yi Zhonghai, and others. Yi Zhonghai is an 8th-level fitter at a steel rolling mill, earning a monthly salary of 99 yuan. There is a disciple named Jia Dongxiu, who was originally planned by Yi Zhonghai to retire for himself, but unfortunately Jia Dongxiu passed away a few years ago. Second Grandpa Lu Haizhong is a 7th-level fitter in the factory, earning a monthly salary of 75 yuan, and has a dream of becoming an official. Believing in filial piety and favoring the eldest son, Lu Guangqi, the eldest son in the original work, went to another province to become his son.In.Law and never returned. However, the second son Lu Guangtian and the third son Lu Guangfu were not filial at all when they grew up, even ignoring the fact that they almost died in the bangs. Silly Zhu's archenemy is Su Damao, who is a real villain who is greedy for money and lustful. At this moment, Lin Yun's mind suddenly heard a system prompt sound. Congratulations to the host, successfully signed into the system. Congratulations to the host for obtaining the beginner gift pack. Upon hearing this, Lin Yun's eyes lit up. System, open the beginner's gift pack. At the next moment, a series of prompt sounds came from the system. Congratulations to the host for inheriting the Kyushu medical tradition. Congratulations to the host, you have obtained 1 vitality fruit. Congratulations to the host for obtaining a pair of top-quality silver needles. Congratulations to the host for obtaining the inheritance of Kyushu martial arts. Lin Yun entered his personal attribute panel with consciousness. I saw that my level of inheritance in Kyushu medical ethics and Kyushu martial arts is only 10%. But even 10% is enough to cure Lin Xin, who has leukemia on her body. Due to the fact that the inheritance of Kyushu martial arts has reached 10%, Yang Yun's mind has mastered the technique of Benquan. Lin Yun felt that he could even kill a cow with 1 punch. Next time Silly Zhu comes back, 1 punch can make Silly Zhu spit out his dinner overnight. Today's check.In is available. Will the host proceed with check.In? The sound of the system came out once again. Sign in. Congratulations to the host for obtaining the Qinglian space. P.S. New books set sale. Seeking flowers, seeking evaluation tickets, seeking monthly tickets, seeking rewards, seeking everything. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. Chapter 2, You Can't Torture Me. I didn't do anything wrong. You are listening at Novel Full.Audio. Lin Yun's mind moved and he entered the Qinglian space of the system. The Qinglian space is the space within one of the petals of the created Qinglian. Because it was just opened, the Qinglian qi is insufficient, and the space is probably less than 1,000 square meters. But among them, there are mountains and water, grasslands, flowers and plants, full of vitality. Abundant spiritual energy, take a breath, and feel relaxed and happy. Lin Yun's consciousness retreated from the Qinglian space and he heard Lin Xion's stomach growl. Sister, brother will cook noodles for you. Lin Yun made up his mind not to let his loved ones be bullied again from now on. I will never let go of these beasts in the courtyard house. Lin Yun retrieved several pairs of traditional Chinese medicine from the pharmacy, specifically used to treat his sister Lin Xian's leukemia. After boiling the bitter traditional Chinese medicine, I personally fed it to Lin Xian. Although the medicine is bitter, Lin Xian finds it difficult to swallow. But under Lin Yun's deception, Lin Xian felt that even the medicine was sweet and quickly finished drinking the traditional Chinese medicine. Lin Yun looked in the mirror and saw bruises on his neck. As he was about to leave the door, he reminded Lin Xin, Xianer, brother has gone out. You are alone at home. Remember, don't open the door for anyone, understand? Lin Yun is worried that during his absence from home, those beasts in the courtyard will be detrimental to his sister. Lin Xian nodded obediently and sensible, with mature eyes that did not belong to this age group. Brother, don't worry, my sister is not going anywhere, just waiting for you to come back at home. Lin Yun walked out of the courtyard and came to Director Wang of the street office. Facing Director Wang, he revealed the shocking pinch marks on his neck. Director Wang's eyes widened in fear when he saw the situation. Aunt Wang hurriedly stood up and asked with concern, Child, who caused the pinch mark on your neck? In Director Wang's eyes, Lin Yun, who ranks first in the grade and is well-behaved and sensible, is definitely a good child. But how could someone dare to take action on a child? With such a cruel hand, Lin Yun was able to survive thanks to his great fortune. Director Wang's heart was filled with anger. At this moment, Lin Yun explained his neck to Director Wang in detail, stating that it was the 2,000 yuan stolen by the stupid pillar gang from him. It was pinched out alive. Upon hearing this, Director Wang became even more enraged and said, What a foolish pillar. What kind of skill is bullying a pair of orphans? Cowards. Shameless. This kind of person should eat peanuts. Director Wang took Lin Yun's hand and angrily walked towards the police station, saying, Let's go, we must not let bad people get away with it. Aunt Wang will accompany you to report to the police. Comrades from the police investigation department heard that Lin Yun was a family member of a martyr, and his mother was so angry that she didn't say anything. Surprisingly, someone almost choked Lin Yun to death. Looking at the bruise on Lin Yun's neck, Uncle Cha angrily said, Child, don't be afraid. Uncle will definitely not let bad people get away with it. He will definitely give you justice. In a courtyard house. Bang Ji ran to the small shop with a large stack of money and bought a bunch of firecrackers. Holding a bunch of firecrackers, Bang Ji arrived at the courtyard and set off the firecrackers with a crackling sound. The other children in the courtyard, surrounded by envy, could only stare at them with widened eyes. The more they were surrounded by a group of people, the more envious their eyes appeared. The more satisfied and fulfilled the sense of achievement in the heart of the stick meme, the more they quickly set off dozens of yuan worth of firecrackers. Upon seeing this scene, Jia Zhang felt heartbroken as if she had lost a few pounds of flesh. My dear grandson, why did you spend so much money? Give the money to grandma and keep it for you. As a result, Jia Zhang discovered that the stick meme actually cost 2,000 yuan. Jia Zhang's eyes lit up instantly and he said, Good grandson, it's amazing. Where did you get all this money from? Bang Ji smiled proudly and said, I snatched it from Lin Yun, who died with his parents, with Uncle Silly Zhu. Upon hearing this, Jia Zhang grinned and said, Come on, good grandson, give the money to grandma. Grandma will take care of it for you and use it for your future marriage. But I can keep it for myself, said Bang Gung, holding the money for a moment of hesitation. Be good, listen to grandma. You're wasting too much. From now on, grandma will give you 10 yuan in pocket money every month. Okay. Upon hearing Jia Zhang's promise to give her 10 yuan in pocket money every month, she casually set the firecrackers on the ground and took out 2,000 yuan. Bang! Just as Bang Ji had just pulled out 2,000 yuan and placed it in Jia Zhang's hand. The police checked and kicked the door open. Seeing the 2,000 yuan in Jia Zhang's hand, Uncle Cha from the police immediately walked over and caught both the stolen and the stolen. We have both personal and material evidence. You can't handcuff me. I didn't do anything wrong. Jia Zhang watched helplessly as she was handcuffed. Grandma. Help me. Kanji also burst into tears and hurriedly begged for mercy from Uncle Police. Uncle Police, I didn't do anything wrong. If you want to catch Grandma, you can't catch me. Bang Gung is still young, thinking that if he is caught by the police, he will never be able to look up in front of his classmates in the future. He was completely flustered in his heart and didn't want to be caught in the police station. Jia Zhang felt a chill when she heard that the stick meme was actually saying this to her. But thinking that the stick meme was his grandson, Jia Zhang could only endure it for a while. P.S. New books set sail. Seeking flowers, seeking evaluation tickets, seeking monthly tickets, seeking rewards, seeking everything. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. Chapter 3. Without the help of others, do not advise others to be kind. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Jia Zhang suddenly had a flash of inspiration and cursed, "This money is all from a foolish pillar. It was all snatched by a foolish pillar. It's not related to me, it's not related to memes." The shouting of Jia Zhang quickly attracted the entire courtyard. People from the front yard, middle yard, and backyard also came out to watch. Upon hearing that Jia Zhang had falsely accused him, Silly Zhu stood up and argued, "Jia Zhang, please don't speak out in anger." However, as soon as the police saw Silly Zhu come out, they immediately stepped forward and tried to handcuff him. Silly Zhu was originally a face-saving person. He glared at Lin Yun with a fierce expression and roared, "Lin Yun, you little brat, are you falsely accusing me? You caught the wrong person." Silly Zhu wanted to break free and almost started at the police. Fortunately, at a critical moment, Yi Zhonghai stood up. Silly Pillar is part of Yi Zhonghai's plan to provide for his retirement. If the foolish pillar attacks the police, it will be difficult to clean up even if you jump into the Yellow River. How can this be done? Yi Zhonghai quickly stopped Shazhu and said, "Shazhu, don't be impulsive, listen to the police first." Silly Zhu looked at Yi Zhonghai and could only curse at Lin Yun, saying, "Little rabbit, you wait for me." Lin Yun looked at Silly Zhu with a displeased expression and said to Uncle Police, "Uncle Police, it's him. He almost choked me to death, and together with Bang Ji and Jia Zhang, they stole my 2,000 yuan. Uncle Cha had always sympathized with Lin Yun, and besides, Lin Yun was still a family member of the martyrs. Now my mother is also angry to death. This silly pillar looks tall and imposing, and actually bullies a pair of martyr orphans." The police looked down upon Silly Zhu and said, "Be honest with me." At this moment, Qin Huairu also stood up. Lin Yun looked at Qin Huairu, her face flushed slightly. The buttons on the clothes are not fastened yet, and the celebrity clothes are a bit messy. And it just walked out from the direction of the cellar, and the discerning person could tell at a glance that this was definitely a deal with Yi Zhonghai. Lin Yun decided to seize the opportunity in the future and expose it in front of Silly Zhu. Let Silly Zhu, the first licking dog of Qin Huairu, know what kind of virtue Yi Zhonghai is. Watching Silly Zhu be taken away by the police, Yi Zhonghai's face was gloomy. Silly Zhu has entered the bureau. If he leaves any records, it will have a negative impact on his future marriage and work. Thinking of this, Yi Zhonghai stared at Lin Yun with a cold expression in his eyes and said, "Why are your magnanimity so small? Stupid Jew didn't do anything to you. Why are you reporting to the police?" Upon hearing this, Lin Yun's heart instantly became angry and he fiercely retorted, "You are a despicable person. My magnanimity is small. Didn't your mother die of anger before? When you were still 10 years old, you were robbed and almost choked to death. You said I have a small capacity, and this kind of thing has not happened to you. Without his involvement, do not advise others to be kind. You. This sentence left Yi Zhonghai speechless. Upon hearing this, Uncle Cha gave Lin Yun a appreciative glance. People in this era are all people who have been poor or hungry, and have a strong bloodline in their bones. At a young age, Lin Yun has a strong bloodline, but the police strongly agree. Staring at Yi Zhonghai, he finally escorted Jia Zhang, who was cursing, to the police station. Hurry up. Don't procrastinate. Uncle Police said. Subsequently, Uncle Cha from the police said to Lin Yun, "Children, why don't you come with us to take a statement? We will definitely give you an explanation about this matter." Okay. Lin Yun nodded and followed him to the police station. Arrived at the police station and recorded the confession. No matter how silly the pillar or the stick meme is, how to defend it. Lin Yun spoke eloquently to defend himself, firmly asserting that silly Zhu and stick Gung were the ones who committed burglary and murder. Besides, this is 2,000 yuan. In this era, everyone's monthly salary is only 23 yuan. 2,000 yuan is definitely a huge sum of money. In addition, with the bruise on Lin Yun's neck, the police briefly extracted his fingerprints. You're really a fool. In this era, there is already fingerprint extraction technology. At this moment, silly pillars and stick memes are hard to distinguish. The police officer was also angry, staring at silly Zhu and stick Gung and shouting angrily, "What kind of man are you? Bullying the family of a martyr, a pair of orphans." Silly Zhu was stared at all unnatural, but he didn't think he was wrong at all in his heart. In his opinion, Lin Yun and Lin Xin, a pair of little brats, are not qualified to spend 2,000 yuan. The Qinhuairu family has a large population and cannot eat enough. Lin Yun's money should be used to provide relief to the Qinhuairu family. Stick memes go grab it, that's because stick memes are smart and should be ruthless against such selfish people. Silly Zhu not only didn't feel guilty in his heart, but also stared at Lin Yun with a resentful gaze. I thought to myself that when I went out, I must find a way to kill the Lin Yun siblings. And the stick meme, on the other hand, turned pale from fear. He is still studying. If he is convicted, he will have a case against him. When the time comes, if you go back to study, perhaps the school will not accept it anymore and you will be ridiculed by your classmates. At the thought of this, the eyeballs of Batu Ji turned white. Suddenly, Bang Ji turned his gaze to Jia Zhang and shouted, "Police Uncle Cha, it's all Grandma who instigated me to do this. It was my grandmother who asked me to rob. I don't know anything. I don't know the consequences. If you want to catch me, you can catch my grandmother. This has nothing to do with me." Bang Ji started crying and her eyes turned red. At this moment, Bang Ji was really scared. P.S. New books set sale. Seeking flowers, seeking evaluation tickets, seeking monthly tickets, seeking rewards, seeking everything. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. Chapter 4. You, Yi Zhonghai, are a dead end in breaking shoes. You are listening at novel full.audio. At the same time, he cursed Lin Yun dozens of times in his heart, wishing he could go out and kill him directly. When Jia Zhang heard her own grandson bite her back, she was also stunned and said, "Good grandson, what are you talking about?" Seeing Jia Zhang still arguing, Qinhuairu was anxiously spinning on the side. Glancing at Jia Zhang, he quickly said, "Mom, why are you just instigating the stick meme? Mom, you're so old, you're really embarrassing our family. How can you raise your head and be a good person when you let Bang Ji stay at school in the future?" Upon hearing this, Jia Zhang's heart instantly understood. The daughter.in.law here is planning to make herself go top of the bag. Jia Zhang's heart was filled with 10,000 unwillingness, 2,000 yuan, and at least 10 years in prison. And I also have to take painkillers and go to jail for 10 years. I'm afraid Qin Huiru has long ignored me. Perhaps one day, before I even came out, I would burp my butt inside. In an instant, Jia Zhang's face turned pitch black, with a mischievous and helpless expression, angrily scolding Qin Huiru and saying, "You broomstar. What are you talking nonsense? You instigated the meme. How could you falsely accuse me instead? Lao Jia. Take a look below. This despicable daughter.In.Law Kofu is still trying to kill me. Take her down." Jia Zhang collapsed on the ground and started shouting like a shrew. Silence. Upon hearing this, the police became impatient in an instant. All right. It's already booked. You guys go back. The police became impatient and let Qin Huiru leave directly. And Lin Yun also completed his confession and returned to the courtyard. At the same time, 2,000 yuan was also recovered by the police and returned to Lin Yun. It can be said that as long as Lin Yun doesn't let go, Jia Zhang, Sili Zhu, and Bang Gung will all be sentenced to 10 years in prison. Eat 10 years of free meals. Lin Yun himself is a martyr orphan, and with this important identity, silly pillar and stick meme, Jia Zhang's family cannot be better off. Returning to the room, my younger sister Lin Xin heard footsteps and immediately sat up. Brother. Sister Lin Xin shed tears. Thinking of her brother going out to report to the police alone, Lin Xin was afraid that silly Zhu and Stick Ji would come and beat her brother again. As a result, all those who were worried shed tears. Seeing his younger sister so worried about him, Lin Yun's heart was also filled with bitterness. Now that both parents are gone, this family is on its own. I am the pillar of this family, I must take good care of my younger sister. Lin Yun gently wiped away the tears from the corners of Lin Xin's eyes, and then went to brew a pair of traditional Chinese medicine for her. Chinese medicine is very bitter, but Lin Xin obediently didn't cry and slowly drank it all. Suddenly, after drinking the bitter traditional Chinese medicine, Lin Xin's eyes turned red and she said, "Brother, helping me see a doctor will cost me a lot of money. My mother used to take me to see a doctor, and the doctor said it was hopeless. Otherwise, brother, you should give up Xiner. Xiner, I don't want to implicate my brother." Lin Xin's tears were like a broken kite. Upon hearing this, Lin Yun felt a heart-wrenching pain. The more sensible the younger sister is, the more guilty Lin Yun becomes. It seems that in the future, I must make all the beasts in the courtyard pay the price. Lin Yun comforted and hugged Lin Xin, saying, "Sister, don't be afraid. Brother will protect you from now on. In the future, my brother will never let anyone in the courtyard bully our family again. Whoever dares to extend a finger, I'll chop off his hand." Lin Yun said solemnly. Although only a 10-year-old child, the temperament displayed on his body seems to be beyond the reach of a child. On the other hand, Yi Zhonghai heard that silly Zhu had been imprisoned. Feeling extremely worried, he ran straight to the door and said, "Lin Yun, come out." Lin Yun pushed open the door and walked out, saying, "What are you shouting about? Everyone is a courtyard house. You report to the police to catch silly Zhu, and if you harm him, he will be sent to prison." "Do you mean that?" Yi Zhonghai played the emotional card and continued, "As I am your elder, you can go directly to explain to the police. This is a misunderstanding, let them go. I'll turn around and ask silly Zhu and his team to compensate you. Let's just forget about this matter." Yi Zhonghai thought that Lin Yun was just a child and could handle it at will. Upon hearing this, Lin Yun retorted directly, "Hee hee. You're the only one who runs out of shoes, and you deserve to be my elder. Silly Zhu has done so many immoral things, how can I forgive him?" Upon hearing this, Yi Zhonghai's expression froze and he shouted loudly, "What are you saying? You have the guts to say it again." Yi Zhonghai couldn't hear anyone say that he was unemployed. Originally, silly Zhu was arrested, and Yi Zhonghai was in a bad mood. This is the person he plans to use to support his retirement. Lin Yun said calmly and without any fear, I said you, Yi Zhonghai, are a dead and desperate shoemaker. You have no right to be my elder. You. Yi Zhonghai was completely angered at this moment. He raised his palm and struck towards Lin Yun. In his opinion, Lin Yun, a 10-year-old brat without parents, is no different from a wild child. As long as I defeat Lin Yun, doesn't Lin Yun have to let himself handle it? To treat such a little brat, if you can move your hands, you don't need to move your mouth. Pop. However, in the next moment, what Yi Zhonghai did not expect was that not only did his hand empty, but there was also a burning pain on his face. Yi Zhonghai looked at Lin Yun incredulously and couldn't believe that this little rabbit had slapped him. P.S. New books set sale. Seeking flowers, seeking evaluation tickets, seeking monthly tickets, seeking rewards, seeking everything. Chapter 5. Sun Tzu is so fierce. Dare to falsely accuse my grandson. You are listening at novelfull.audio. This loud slap almost echoed throughout the entire courtyard. The people in the courtyard gathered around when they heard the commotion. Seeing Yi Zhonghai being slapped in the face by a child under 10 years old, I was also stunned. The orphan of the Lin family is really fierce. If you don't have a father or a mother, or someone to support you, you dare to hit Mr. Yi. This Lin family kid is really not afraid of death. This kid is really a bit ignorant of heaven and earth. If he beats Grandpa Yi has plenty of reasons to make fun of him. Hey, after all, I'm just a child. I guess I haven't suffered any losses yet, so I'm brave. Some of the neighbors in the courtyard shook their heads. And just as Yi Rainwater passed by and entered the courtyard, he saw that Yi Zhonghai had been beaten. Yi Rainwater gently walked up to Yi Zhonghai and advised Lin Yun, you are small, but you have a good temper. How could you beat Mr. Yi? Yi Rainwater still looked at it from an objective perspective. She just came back and many things are unclear. Lin Yunhong glared at Yi Rainwater and said, you know what the hell. I won't fight back, it's me who got beaten. Am I a child? I'm still young, so I deserve to be beaten. When I was about to be beaten just now, why didn't anyone stand up and say a fair word for me? Lin Yun retorted. In fact, it is indeed the case. If Yi Zhonghai beats Lin Yun, people in the courtyard would think that Yi Zhonghai is educating the child. Lin Yun has no father or mother, no support, and no one will view problems from Lin Yun's perspective. Yi Rainwater was silenced by Lin Yun's criticism, not knowing what to say. Yi Zhonghai felt embarrassed and looked at the surrounding neighbors in the courtyard. It's not convenient to hit a child in front of so many people at this moment. After all, he appears to be the most virtuous and prestigious person in the courtyard. Thinking of this, he turned his head to look at Yi Rainwater, intending to sow discord between Yi Rainwater and Lin Yun. Yi Zhonghai said somewhat dissatisfied, Yi Rainwater, you came back just in time. Lin Yun called the police, spread rumors, and caught your brother. I just came to persuade this kid to release your brother, but he ended up hitting someone. When Yi Zhonghai spoke, his whole face still felt a bit painful. What? Yi Rainwater was stunned when he heard this and said, my brother was caught. Although Yi Rainwater's relationship with Silly Zhu is not good, Silly Zhu has been helping the widow Qin Huairu in recent years, making Yi Rainwater always hungry. She also knew that Qin Huairu was not a good person, and in order to retaliate against Silly Zhu, she worked hard to match Silly Zhu and Qin Huairu. At this moment, I heard that Silly Zhu had actually entered, but at least he was also my own brother. Yi Rainwater still looked at Lin Yundao dissatisfied and said, how could you do this? Where did my brother offend you? Lin Yun glared at He Yushui and said, don't you know what your brother did? Don't you know, I almost got choked to death by your brother. My brother almost choked you to death. Yi Rainwater was also stunned when he heard this. Lin Yun saw a group of animals surrounding the courtyard and returned to the room, directly closing the door. Yi Zhonghai was in a bad mood. He felt like he hadn't even scared a little kid and was actually beaten. He walked towards the deaf old lady's room, intending to find her to subdue Lin Yun. Su Dumao also happened to come back from playing a movie in the countryside when he saw a group of people walking past the courtyard house one after another. Curiously inquiring, he heard that silly Zhu had almost committed murder due to robbery and had already been imprisoned. Su Dumao grinned and couldn't close his mouth. "Wife, these are 2 pheasants. We'll stew them all tonight. By the way, taking an orphan as a gift to the Lin family is truly helping me get rid of this foolish pillar's serious illness." Su Dumao laughed heartily and decided not to get drunk tonight. At the home of the deaf old lady in the backyard, hearing the commotion coming from the yard, the deaf old lady thought it was silly Zhu bullying someone again. In the past, the commotion in quadrangles was mostly caused by silly pillars. Silly Zhu claims to be the god of war in the courtyard, and almost all young people in the courtyard have been beaten by him. Therefore, the deaf old lady thought that silly Zhu was bullying people again and said with a smile at the corner of her eyes, "Sun Tzu is so fierce. Old lady." At this moment, Qin Huairu ran over crying and immediately threw herself in front of the deaf old lady. "Silly girl, what's going on?" The deaf old lady didn't like Qin Huairu, she was interested in Lu Xiaoa. In the original work, after Lu Xiaoa and Su Dumao divorced, she worked hard to match Lu Xiaoa and silly Zhu. The result was disastrous for Lu Xiaoa, who even gave birth to a son for silly Zhu. If it weren't for this, silly pillar would have gone extinct long ago. Qin Huairu was crying and crying, because of the 10-year prison sentence for Bang Gung. Qin Huairu's eyes turned red with tears. "Grandma, you need to save the stick meme. Bang Gung has been caught and falsely accused by the child of the Lin family. He will be sentenced to 10 years in prison." Qin Huairu sobbed and wiped away her tears, crying uncontrollably. The deaf old lady was annoyed and somewhat shocked upon hearing this. She couldn't believe that the orphan siblings of the Lin family still had this ability. "Madam, there's also silly Zhu inside. You must help." Qin Huairu continued. "What?" The deaf old lady couldn't calm down now. In her heart, there was only her grandson silly Zhu. When she heard silly Zhu also enter, the deaf old lady stood up with a cane. "Let's go. Take me to see that little beast. How dare you falsely accuse my grandson? P.S. New books set sale. Seeking flowers, seeking evaluation tickets, seeking monthly tickets, seeking rewards, seeking everything." Chapter 6. Breaking the Cane of the Deaf Old Lady. Deaf Elderly. You are listening at novelfull.audio. This dog, silly pillar, is my precious grandson. If you dare to make my grandson go to jail. I'm not finished with this orphan from the Lin family. The deaf old lady muttered as she walked, exuding a strong aura. Yi Zhonghai, who had just arrived, saw Qin Huairu pick up the deaf old lady. At the same time, seeing the arrogant appearance of the deaf old lady, I knew in my heart that she should know what had happened. Yi Zhonghai breathed a sigh of relief, and with the presence of the deaf old lady, things should have stabilized. He didn't believe it anymore. The orphan of the Lin family dared not even give face to the deaf old lady. Bang! The deaf old lady walked to Lin Yun's doorstep and saw that the door was tightly closed. She didn't even shout before kicking open the door. It can be seen from this how angry the deaf old lady is now in her heart. Upon hearing about his grandson silly Zhu, he may be sentenced to 10 years in prison, and the deaf old lady cannot calm down at this moment. "Lin's little bunny, get out of here." The deaf old lady stomped the ground with her cane and shouted at Lin Yun. Lin Yun was cooking, but the dishes in the pot were not cooked yet. He heard the voice of a deaf old lady. Lin Yun brought the pot to the boil and prepared to come and drive out with the deaf old lady. Lin Yun doesn't have a good impression of this deaf old lady either. Although the deaf old lady is a member of the Five Guarantees household, Lin Yun knows that her identity as a member of the Five Guarantees household is also fake. She's not even a martyr's family. She had only sent cloth shoes to the Rabbit Army before. In order to thank the deaf old lady, Rabbit Army gave her the status of a Five Guarantee household when they saw that she had no children, allowing her to retire. But the deaf old lady fabricated an identity for herself, claiming that her sons died in battle. Over time, she believed it herself, and the neighbors also believed it deeply. Moreover, when my mother was infuriated to death, I never saw a deaf old lady come out to preside over justice. It can be said that the deaf old lady's heart completely leans towards the side of the silly pillar. For such a person, Lin Yun naturally wouldn't be polite to her. Get out of here. Lin Yun walked directly to the deaf old lady and gave a sharp confrontation. What did you say? The deaf old lady didn't expect Lin Yun to tell her to get lost. Usually, the whole courtyard is respectful to oneself, and this is the first time anyone dares to speak ill of themselves in front of them. You brat, you are so rebellious. The deaf old lady swung her cane and poked towards Lin Yun. When your mother Xiaomaner was still here, she showed me great respect and never dared to talk back when I spoke. The deaf old lady's cane was avoided by Lin Yun, and her body trembled with anger. You little rabbit, how dare you tell me to go? You old and immortal, who are you calling a little rabbit? Lin Yun's face turned black. When her mother was still alive, if the deaf old lady was willing to help, her mother wouldn't be angry to death by the beasts in the courtyard. It can be said that the reason why the animals in the courtyard are so arrogant is also due to the deaf old lady. After all, the stick meme is protected by the silly pillar, and behind the silly pillar, there is a deaf old lady guarding it. Therefore, how could a deaf old lady possibly stand on the side of her mother Yang Min? As one of the behind-the-scenes associates who angered his mother to death, Lin Yun did not directly take action, which was already extremely polite. But now, this deaf old lady is actually relying on her old age to sell her old age, forcibly breaking into her own room, and even wanting to hit herself with a cane. Lin Yun became increasingly angry as he thought, and his forehead turned blue. I saw Lin Yun, a 10-year-old child, staring at me with such fierce eyes, but I couldn't hit him. The deaf old lady became angry. Suddenly, he turned his gaze to Lin Xin, who was still resting on the bedside. You two little brats. The deaf old lady's cane pointed towards Lin Xin's head. If she is poked, Lin Xin will definitely have a ribbon hanging on her head. At this moment, Lin Yun grabbed the deaf old lady's cane. You let go of me. The deaf old lady became angry. How could you possibly steal something from the old lady? Yi Zhonghai beside him also spoke. Just you old thing, what qualifications do you have to respect me for? Lin Yun scolded the deaf old lady and pulled her cane over. However, in front of everyone, he broke the cane with a click-click. Seeing this scene, Yi Zhonghai, the deaf old lady, and Qin Huairu were all shocked in their hearts. Lin Yun looks thin and small, but his strength is quite strong. The deaf old lady had no crutches and her legs were not agile, so she could only threaten Lin Yun and say, go to the police station quickly, withdraw the case, and have the police release the foolish pillar. Otherwise, the old lady would have died by throwing herself into a well at your doorstep. The deaf old lady paused each word with great momentum. There is no joke at all. Upon hearing this, Lin Yun gave a cold smile and grabbed the deaf old lady's hand, dragging her towards the well in the yard. Aren't you going to die by throwing yourself into a well? Are you throwing yourself in? If you dare not, I will help you throw the well. Lin Yunqing pulled hard, almost dragging the deaf old lady to the well. At first, the deaf old lady thought that Lin Yun was just pretending to be influential. Just let Lin Yun drag her, but when she arrived at the water well, the deaf old lady found that Lin Yun really wanted to push herself into the well. The deaf old lady felt a little panicked in an instant and cursed loudly, you let go of me. I am a 5 guarantee household. If you touch me, you will kill me, and I will report you to the street office. Upon hearing this, Lin Yun sneered disdainfully and said, "Hee, you're still a 5-guarantee household. You're not even a martyr's family. If you have the guts, go sue. Others don't know your secrets, don't I? As long as you sue, I'll just expose your secrets." Lin Yun's expression was not at all joking. Upon hearing this, the deaf old lady felt a panic in her heart. "I dare not bring up the matter of reporting to the street office again. Just continue to threaten, you hurry up and release the silly pillar. Otherwise, I won't be finished with you. Okay. You old and immortal thing. If you want to play, I'll play with you." Lin Yun cursed loudly, not saving face for the deaf old lady at all. If this deaf old lady had the aura to appear in such a half, she would have been able to protect her mother. My own mother won't be angry to death by the beasts in the courtyard either. For such people, there is no need to save face. Upon hearing this, the deaf old lady was furious and with a "wow" sound, she spat out a mouthful of blood. Quick! Yi Zhonghai panicked when he saw the deaf old lady vomiting blood. "Take the old lady to rest and see a doctor. Lin's little bunny, old lady, but whatever happens, you have to take full responsibility." Yi Zhonghai threatened and left carrying the deaf old lady on his back. P.S. The new book set sail. Seeking flowers, seeking evaluation tickets, seeking monthly tickets, seeking rewards, seeking everything. Chapter 7. Is afraid to kill all of us in the courtyard. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Yi Zhonghai's face turned pale. He was in the courtyard and had never suffered such a big loss in anyone's hands before. He is an 8th-level fitter in a steel rolling mill, and usually has a highly respected image. Which person in the courtyard is not polite to themselves? Lin Yun returned to the room and continued to cook the food. Quickly, the aroma spread throughout the entire courtyard. The beasts in the courtyard are all starting to swallow their saliva. Lin Yun's house has 2 rooms, totaling over 50 square meters. But the Jia family only has 1 room, with a partition in the middle. It seems that the room area of the Jia family is much smaller than that of the Lin family. In addition, the Jia family has a relatively large population, which makes it appear crowded. So, just after Lin Yun's mother Yang Mingang was infuriated, the Jia family set their sights on the Lin family's house. Anyway, they are just 2 little brats under 10 years old. Lin Yun is only 10 years old, 1 year younger than Bang Ji. There is not a single adult at home to support them. This kind of child, when frightened, is completely controlled to death. Who would have thought that silly Zhu didn't kill Lin Yun, this little beast? Even Lin Yun, this little beast, went to the police. Yi Zhonghai and Qin Huiru felt a toothache in their hearts. Lin Yun prepared the food and asked his sister Lin Xin to have dinner with him. At the dinner table, Lin Xin's tears couldn't stop flowing. "Brother, is Xin dragging you down?" Sister Lin Xin saw a large group of people rushing into the house, so her brother protected herself alone. Lin Xin couldn't do anything on her own, feeling a bit guilty. Lin Yun touched his sister's hair and said, "Sister, what are you talking about? As an older brother, where can you not protect your sister? This group of beasts dares to break into our house." Lin Yun suddenly looked coldly and said, "Sister, please keep an eye on them. How did this group of beasts fall into my brother's hands?" Seeing Lin Xin nodded obediently, Lin Yun's heart was filled with hatred towards the beasts in the courtyard. If it weren't for her own sacrifice and rebirth, it might have been her sister Lin Xin who was already driven crazy by the beasts in the courtyard at this moment. After all, Qin Huiru and Jia Zhang have scorpion hearts, how could they care about the life and death of Lin Xin, a little girl? If she lost herself, Lin Xin would probably become a beggar and homeless. It may even be sold by a group of quadrangle animals, totaling them. In the end, it even drove Lin Xin crazy. Never overestimate the human nature of quadrangle animals. After finishing the meal, Lin Xin rushed to wash the dishes. Lin Yun originally intended to let Lin Xin rest more for a while and take good care of her body. But Lin Xin insisted on washing dishes in order to prove her usefulness, not to burden Lin Yun. Lin Yun was helpless and could only watch as Lin Xin went to wash the dishes. And Lin Yun's consciousness entered the system space. System, how is child.In done? Lin Yun inquired about the system. Answer the host, there are daily, weekly, monthly, annual, 10-year, and centennial system sign-ins. The longer the time, the more abundant the rewards for child.In will be. Upon hearing this, Lin Yun's heart was filled with joy. Immediately, Lin Yun immersed his consciousness into the space of Qinglian. System, is there anything unique about this Qinglian space? However, the system only coldly replied, please explore on your own. Upon hearing this, Lin Yun felt helpless. Subsequently, Lin Yun expanded his personal attribute panel. Name: Lin Yun bloodline. Kyushu bloodline gender. Male age: 10 years old. Physical fitness: 45, average for middle-aged people is 10, skills: Kyushu medical Dao, 10%, Kyushu martial Dao, 10%. Item: a pair of top. Quality silver needles. World Qinglian space, 1%. 1%, also known as Qinglian space, means only 1% has been developed. Thinking of this, Lin Yun's consciousness immediately moved. Quickly entered the Qinglian space. Then, he began to explore in the Qinglian space. There are grasslands where cows, sheep, horses, and so on can be raised. There are also lakes where fish can be raised. Even the mountain spring, Lin Yun tasted it. Well, this mountain spring is very spiritual, not an ordinary mountain spring. Lin Yun filled a bottle with some mountain spring water and took it out. I used these mountain spring water to boil a pair of traditional Chinese medicine for my sister Lin Xin. Sure enough, after drinking mountain spring water, Lin Xin's younger sister's complexion instantly improved a lot. Lin Yun is very satisfied. With the Qinglian space, we can bring some animals and raise them in the future, so we don't have to worry about food and drink anymore. Lin Yun thought for a moment. At this moment, Yi Zhonghai's family. The deaf old lady, Aunt Yi, Qin Huiru, and Yi Zhonghai all have unattractive faces. The deaf old lady's face was gloomy, and the blood at the corner of her mouth had been wiped clean. But his mouth seemed to never stop. This Lin Yun, at such a young age, is so bad to the bone. I deserve to die, my parents. What a nemesis. So small, so bad. If we don't control it, we'll probably kill everyone in our courtyard house. The deaf old lady's body trembled with anger. Yi Zhonghai stood up and said, Madam, you are the most respected person in the yard. He dares to bully you. I'm going to hold a general meeting of the entire court now and have everyone criticize him. After Yi Zhonghai finished speaking, he went out to find Grandpa Lu Haizhong and Grandpa Yan Bugui. P.S. New books set sale. Seeking flowers, seeking evaluation tickets, seeking monthly tickets, seeking rewards, seeking everything. Chapter 8. A group of dogs in a courtyard, whatever they do. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. What's going on? Grandpa Lu muttered in his bang's third master Yan Bugui's shrewd gaze glanced at Yi Zhonghai and said, First master, you have nothing to do but climb the three treasures hall. Yi Zhonghai smiled slightly and said, I have decided to convene the entire courtyard. Lin Yun, that little brat, will bully the deaf old lady. Even the three of us dare not do anything to the deaf old lady, that little brat just broke her cane. Ah! This! Grandpa Yan's bangs and three grandfathers Yan Bugui were all surprised. The deaf old lady is the most respected person in the yard. How dare this little rabbit be so brave? I asked our family member Yan Jifang to notify the entire hospital and hold a general meeting. Yan Bugue helped his glasses and said, respecting the elderly and loving the young is our traditional virtue, we cannot sit idly by. Grandpa Lu Haizhong is determined to get promoted, and this help for the 5 guarantees household can also be included in his resume. He naturally chose not to do it. At Lin Yun's doorstep. Dong dong. Yan Jifang went door and quickly knocked on Lin Yun's door. Who is it? Lin Yun muttered. It's me, Yan Jiquang. The 3 masters have notified us to hold a general meeting of the entire court later, and I came specifically to inform you. Yan Jifang said angrily. Everyone knows that Lin Yun has 2,000 yuan in his hands now, but he hasn't bought anything delicious for himself. Yan Jifang was also envious of the 2,000 yuan in Lin Yun's hand. Alright, I got it. Lin Yun originally didn't want to participate. But on second thought, this is definitely the 3 masters' means of dealing with themselves. They will definitely try their best to get themselves involved. I also took this opportunity to be honest with all the animals in the hospital about my position. In the future, I will not call myself a part of such meetings. Brother, are they ready to deal with you again? Lin Xin stood up at this moment. Thanks to Lin Yun's recuperation and medication, Lin Xin is now able to stand up and walk on her own. Well, sister, just stay at home and don't go anywhere, Lin Yun kindly advised her. Brother, I'm going with you this time. Xiner is going to face it with her brother. I see who dares to bully our siblings. Lin Xin clenched her pink little fist and said arrogantly. Seeing Lin Xin so persistent, Lin Yun could only agree. After Lin Yun and Lin Xin arrived at the venue of the entire conference, everyone had already arrived here. 3 uncles, 3 aunties, Qin Huiru, Yi Zhonghai, Lu Haizhong, deaf old lady, Yan Bugue, Yan Jifang, Yan Jiquang, Su Damao, Lu Xiaoyi, and so on. Lin Yun and Lin Xin were the last to arrive. Seeing the Lin brothers and sisters coming, Qin Huiru thought of her son, Bang Zhen, who was still in prison. His face turned pitch black as he glared at Lin Xin angrily and said, he's really a bastard. Sooner or later, he will conquer his brother and husband. Upon hearing this, Lin Xion's face turned pitch black and she said, You, Qin Huiru, why are you cursing people? Lin Xian is still young, who knows how vicious Qin Huiru's heart is. As soon as he spoke, he cursed so savagely. Oh, you little broom, even my parents are dead. Are you still playing tricks on me? Qin Huiru joked as she looked at Lin Xion's angry eyes. Qin Huiru, you really stinky bitch, keep your stinky mouth closed. If you dare to scold my sister again, I'll tear your mouth apart. At this moment, Lin Yun couldn't help but burst into anger when he heard Qin Huiru humiliating his sister. That gaze frightened Qin Huiru into a moment of retreat. She was not afraid of Lin Yun, a 10-year-old child, but seeing Lin Yun's gaze, she was also frightened for a moment. Moreover, in front of everyone's eyes, taking action in public is also a shame for oneself. Therefore, Qin Huiru restrained herself and did not take any action for a moment. Immediately after, Yi Zhonghai began to angrily rebuke Lin Yun in public, saying, Everyone, come and be a witness. This stinky kid broke the cane of the deaf old lady. I almost hit the deaf old lady. We should teach him a lesson, criticize him, and teach him a lesson. Yi Zhonghai's words stood still, and everyone saw the 2 broken crutches in the deaf old lady's hand. For a moment, the emotions of the residents of the entire quadrangle were stirred up. This kid, he just died. Mom and Dad, is that so tough? At the age of only 10, dare to bully the most respected deaf old lady in our yard. This little brat, if he didn't educate well when he was young, he will definitely become a disaster when he grows up. What kind of skill is bullying an old lady? Let my family be liberated one day and teach him what it means to respect the elderly and love the young. For a moment, there was a wave of curses. Lin Yun, on the other hand, angrily retorted, Yi Zhonghai, you are a desperate individual. What are you spewing blood at? If it weren't for this old lady going to my house with a cane and wanting to hit my sister, would I break her cane? Lin Yun's short stature is obviously not impressive in the eyes of so many adults, but he said with great momentum, I haven't come to accuse you of breaking into a house and attempting to beat someone else, so you'll bite back. Okay, then don't say anything. I'll go directly to the police and have them investigate to give everyone a fair deal. Let's see what's right and what's wrong. After speaking, Lin Yun pretended to walk towards the police station. As he walked, he said, also, deaf old lady, others don't know your identity, but I do. I will report it together when the time comes. Upon hearing this, the deaf old lady who was originally sitting in a chair watching the play also felt anxious in her heart. If he reports like this, what will he find out? The reputation he has worked hard on for many years will be ruined. You come back. The deaf old lady scolded angrily, little rabbit, we can solve the problem with our courtyard house internally, there's no need to spread it outside. Yi Zhonghai quickly had someone intercept Lin Yun's path and said, Lin Yun, if you apologize, this matter will be over. If I have to apologize, Lin Yun retorted. Yi Zhonghai didn't expect Lin Yun to be so tough. If Lin Yun really went to the police, maybe I might also go in because I assisted the deaf old lady in breaking into a private house. After careful consideration, Zhonghai finally shook his head helplessly and said, okay, let's just forget about this matter. This time it's just a verbal warning. Next time, I don't want to see such a thing again. Yi Zhonghai waved his hand and soon the whole courtyard was scattered. Humph. Lin Yun returned to the room with his sister. Brother, this group of dogs from the quadrangle are going to bite back at him whatever they do. Lin Xin also clenched her fists with some resentment. P.S. The new book set sail. Seeking flowers, seeking evaluation tickets, seeking monthly tickets, seeking rewards, seeking everything. Chapter 9. Master Level Blade Skills. With a Knife, Castrated 4. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Be good, sister, don't be angry about such a group of beasts. They're not worth it. Lin Yun reached out and touched his sister Lin Xian's head. Thinking of my younger sister being only a few years old, how could she bear such a deep hatred? The taste in my heart is even more uncomfortable. At the end of the day, it's still my own brother who is not tough enough to make this group of beasts think that the Lin family members are all easy to deceive. A person who is not ruthless cannot stand steadily. Returning to the room, there was nothing to say all night. The next day, at dawn, Lin Yun started checking in directly at the system space and said, System, check in. Congratulations to the host, successful check.In. Congratulations to the host for obtaining master-level sword skills, 5 pounds of high-quality snowflake beef, a pair of ducklings, a pair of magical fishing rods, and 30 pieces of great unity. Seeing the check.In reward given by the system, Lin Yun narrowed his eyes and nodded in satisfaction. The reward given by the system this time is really generous. Just that master-level knife craftsman can make oneself imitate the method of cook the ox and use a knife to separate beef and beef bones. Furthermore, you can castrate all the beasts in the courtyard with a knife. Lin Yun is holding a kitchen knife. In an instant, I felt that this kitchen knife was no longer just a tool. But it became my own arm. And high-quality snowflake beef is perfect for making a beef feast. As for the 30 great unity, it surprised Lin Yun even more. You should know that in this era, the salary of an ordinary worker is only 20 yuan per month. 30 pieces of unity are equivalent to 1.5 months' salary for an ordinary worker. Lin Yun immediately threw the pair of ducklings directly into the Qinglian space. However, what Lin Yun couldn't imagine. After that pair of ducklings entered the Qinglian space, they quickly grew up from little ducklings to big ducks. However, a nest of ducklings hatched. Seeing this amazing speed, Lin Yun smiled slightly and specially circled a place in the Qinglian space. Used as a duck farm. Watching ducks reproduce so quickly, Lin Yun felt that it wouldn't take long. The speed of ducks can quickly completely occupy the entire duck farm. And in the end, Lin Yun turned his gaze to the magical fishing rod. This fishing rod has the word magical, but Lin Yun cannot guess the specific effects. Anyway, after dinner later, go fishing in Zhonghai and try out the effectiveness of this fishing rod. Thinking of this, Lin Yun took out over 2 pounds of high-quality pork belly beef. Then he showcased his master-level cooking skills and made a sumptuous beef fragrant pot. The unique aroma of beef quickly permeated the entire courtyard. The animals in the courtyard soon began to drool. Especially the greediest deaf old lady, upon smelling the aroma, immediately urged Aunt Yi to bring herself a bowl of beef. Upon hearing that it was Lin Yun, Aunt Yi's face suddenly stiffened. This is not just last night when the entire court meeting was held, preparing to criticize Lin Yun. Now there is a request from others. However, when it comes to the deaf old lady's urgent need, she naturally disregards it. Lin Yun, the old lady wants a bowl of beef, do you think? Aunt Yi carried the bowl and walked to the door of Lin Yun's room. Get lost. I'll feed it to the dog instead of giving it to the old people. Lin Yun refused directly. With a bang, I closed the door directly. This child, why is it so impolite? Aunt Yi held an empty bowl and was immediately rejected, her face turning pitch black. What? The deaf old lady heard that Lin Yun didn't give the beef, so she angrily stomped the beef she had just bought with her hand. Later, the deaf old lady said to Aunt Yi, go buy me meat. Hurry up. I want to eat it now. Upon seeing this, Aunt Yi sighed and had no choice but to take the money and go out to buy meat. At the same time, Qin Huairu came to the prison with some food to visit Bang Ji. Son, these days, you've lost weight. Tears welled up in Qin Huairu's eyes. Mom. Think of a way, you must take me out. Bang Ji cried. In prison, Batu Ji is often bullied due to his young age. These days, he has become quite haggard all over. Seeing her son's appearance, Qin Huairu, the mother, felt a heart-wrenching pain and said, hey. Don't worry, Mom will definitely save you. Bang Ji glared at Juzi and said fiercely, you've caused me to go to jail. When I go out, you must kill that orphaned siblings. In the eyes of Bang Gung, Lin Yun and Lin Xian are wild children without the support of their parents. Such a wild child, quietly killed, buried in any unknown place, will never be cared about by anyone. As long as time passes, no one can trace themselves. The heart of a stick meme has never been so cruel before. The unfair treatment suffered in prison has all turned into hatred towards Lin Yun. In his opinion, if it weren't for Lin Yun, he wouldn't have been able to go to jail. Completely unaware of my own mistakes. And the foolish pillar in prison was originally still angry. But upon hearing that Qin Huairu had come to visit the prison, a smile immediately appeared on her face. I just waited for half a day, but still didn't see Qin Huairu come to visit me. Silly Zhu's face collapsed in an instant and he said, ah. It's all Lin Yun, this turtle grandson. It's making it impossible for me to see Qin Huairu. When I go out, I must kill these wild animals. Silly Zhu also felt in his heart that if these two little brats were killed by himself and buried in a place, no one would dare to do anything to him in the entire courtyard. P.S. New books set sale. Seeking flowers, seeking evaluation tickets, seeking monthly tickets, seeking rewards, seeking everything. Chapter 10, Grandpa 3 only charges you 10 yuan. Bunny. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The sky is bright. Deep blue sky, eagles flapping their wings. In the fresh air of the courtyard, Lin Yun took out his fishing rod, carried a bucket, and prepared to go fishing in Zhonghai. Passing by the front yard, I happened to bump into Yen Bugue, who was pushing his bicycle and preparing to go fishing. Seeing a slender and delicate fishing rod, Yen Bugue's eyes lit up. Yen Bugue is obsessed with fishing, and seeing the quality of this fishing rod, he knows that it is by no means ordinary. When Yen Bugue saw the owner of the fishing rod, who was clearly Lin Yun, his face darkened. A big kid with 2,000 yuan on him. If only he were in my Yen family. I don't have to work so hard. Although Lin Yun did not offend Yen Bugue was jealous of him, and in his eyes, Lin Yun was only a 10-year-old child, which naturally aroused the evil of human nature. Lin Yun, you're going fishing. Yen Bugue's shrewd little eyes flickered brightly like stars at night. How about this? Uncle San's fishing skills are among the best in the entire courtyard. If you want to learn fishing, Grandpa San can teach you. As for tuition fees, Grandpa San only charges you 10 yuan. Yen Bugue looked at Lin Yun with a smile in his eyes. What do you think? Upon hearing this, Lin Yun didn't turn his head back, not even looking up, and walked directly out of the courtyard. Yen Bugue actually cut the leak onto himself. How heartless. 10 yuan can cover half a month's salary of an ordinary salaried class. Even with Yen Bugue's level of fishing skills, how dare he open the door to accept apprentices? That is to say, I thought Lin Yun was a 10-year-old outsider, thinking that Lin Yun didn't understand anything and was just bullying him. Seeing that Lin Yun ignored him, Yen Bugue continued to push his bicycle behind him and shouted, Uncle San will never deceive you. I promise you can graduate in a month. Lin Yun sneered and directly retorted, Uncle San, don't follow me like a follower. I won't be your scapegoat. Yen Bugue's face turned black as he saw Lin Yun walking straight towards him. He had no choice but to curse a wild seed, and then rode the 2 or 8 poles towards Hohai. When Lin Yun reached Hohai, Yen Bugue had already been fishing for a while. Passing by Uncle San's fishing bucket, there were only 1 or 2 small fish inside. Seeing Lin Yun's gaze coming over, Grandpa San sneered, Lin Yun, what's going on? Grandpa San didn't lie to you, did he? You haven't even caught 2 fish in such a short while, Grandpa San. 10 yuan tuition fee, it's really not that Mr. San tricked you. Mr. San said as he saw Lin Yun get up and walk away. He quickly advised, hey, don't leave. You child. Don't turn back until you hit the south wall. Lin Yun found an empty seat and just put down his fishing rod. Before waiting for a minute, the fishing rod began to fluctuate with the bait. Got it. Lin Yun lifted his fishing rod and a koi weighing about 20 pounds fell into the bucket. What a big fish. This child just sat down. This child is lucky. The fishermen around cast envious and sighing eyes. Humph, it's really unlucky. Yen Bugue sarcastically said. In no time, a group of people gathered around Lin Yun. 20-pound koi is not commonly seen, and its symbolic significance is significant. Buying such a large wild koi will definitely not result in any losses. Child, I'll give you 60 cents per kilogram for this koi, sell it to me. I'll give you 70 cents per kilogram and 10 kilograms of grain vouchers, kid, sell them to me. The people gathered around began to raise prices one after another. Okay. I'll sell it. Lin Yun, who was preparing to continue fishing, sold this first koi. I received 14 yuan and 10 pounds of meat tickets. Seeing that Lin Yun had earned over 10 yuan in just a few minutes, Yen Bugue's jealous eyes were about to jump out of the frame. Perhaps this stinky guy chose a better position. It must be like this. Yen Bugue, who was determined to be in a good position with Lin Yun, picked up the bucket and moved his position to Lin Yun's side. Almost shoulder to shoulder with Lin Yun, he wore a pretentious and kind smile on his face. Lin Yun, the third master is here to guide you fishing. Your grip on this fishing rod is not right. Despite what he said, Uncle San was the first to throw his bait out. Seeing Uncle San so shameless, Lin Yun was also surprised in his heart. He still underestimated the shrewdness of Uncle San. This is simply a calculation to the bone. This elderly man wearing glasses is not ashamed either. You're so old, you're still going to grab a child's seat. It seems like a primary school teacher from Red Star High School. It's really not worth it. Some anglers who knew Yan Bugue whispered in the distance. Lin Yun, who was squeezed out of his position, glanced at Yan Bugue and didn't say much. But instead, he stood up and moved to an empty place. At this moment, Yan Bugue would never dare to lick his old face and come over to grab a spot. Seeing Lin Yun leave, Yan Bugue's face showed a smile of successful trickery. Bunny, fight your grandpa Yan, I eat more salt than you eat. Yan Bugue was feeling proud in his heart, but the next moment, his face stiffened and he looked dumbfounded. Also hooked again. P.S. New books set sale. Seeking flowers, seeking evaluation tickets, seeking monthly tickets, seeking rewards, seeking everything.